The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess has to be my favorite game of the series. I love how you can transform into a wolf and see things you couldn't see as a human, and I love how the mode of the game really makes it feel like a really depressing storyline. This game really reminds me of Soul Eater, and that's good enough for me. Now, I started playing this game in 2011. I was old enough to start using my sister's GameCube, and I played with it all the time. Of course, my top priority was to beat Twilight Princess and see Midna turn into a badass looking Twilight Princess thingy. And at some point I was stuck in the Temple of Time for a really long time. And I had a little rage quit, so I put the game down for a while. Shortly afterwards I started getting into other games such as Persona 4, Golden, and Tekken Tag Tournament. It was about 2 years since I played Twilight Princess, which is as long as I've had my Nintendo Wii I got on Christmas. Now don't get me wrong, I still played Zelda games, but I was sort of avoiding Twilight Princess since I wasn't really into the game as much as I was then, seeing as though my social life had gone bigger and I had more productive things aside from just playing video games. But I decided to start playing it again. I got my Nintendo Wii booted up with the game, and I grabbed my controller and my memory card from my room. There was a quick white flash on the title screen, but I figured it was just a small error since I haven't touched the game in a while. I pressed the start option on my controller and I was brought to the file select. Nothing out of the ordinary except... what? That can't be right. My first file that I was working on that was supposed to have all the fused shadows and a few pieces of the Mirror of Twilight only had 2 pieces of the fused shadows. The no Mirror of Twilight, and I only had 3 hearts. The only tunic I had was the hero tunic, the orange shield and sword as part of my equipment. What was going on? I worked so hard to get where I was, and I was almost done with the Temple of Time. I had the Master Sword, I had all the fused shadows, and definitely wasn't stupid enough to not collect any of the pieces of the heart along the way. I was shocked to see all this. This couldn't be right. Something must have happened. I selected the file and was brought to the higher field. In the nighttime, I was as Wolflink and Midna was on his back. I realized this was part of the game where you have to bring Midna to Zelda and Hyrule Castle after she gets blasted by so much light thanks to Zant. That she's too weak to even stand up. Midna's lament was playing in the background as usual, but something was off. There was nothing in the area. Hyrule Castle couldn't be seen from above. There was no trees, enemies, or anything of the matter. All there was just grass of what seemed to be a never-ending plain. I pressed the Z button on my controller to speak to Midna. No text box appeared, but the camera did zoom to Midna's face. She had a very depressed look on her. Few shadow pieces was a bit cracked. Her voice is heard in her actual voice, I mean. And she spoke in non-gibberish words. Link, where have you been all this time? You were gone for so long. I lost everything. I was so sad, and Zelda, Midna then closed her eyes and then opened them and looked straight at me. She spoke again, saying, "You're such a jerk. You let Gandalf take control of both our worlds and left me and Zelda here helpless. You're so close to saving everything. Aren't you happy with yourself?" Wolflink didn't do anything. He just stood there and with no expression at all. Soon the camera zoomed out of range of Midna. She was breathing heavily like usual. All that was in my mind was, what the hell? Wasn't sure how I felt about this. I wasn't sure what was going on at all, to be exact. Could she really be referring to my absence for those 2 years? I started making Wolflink run, God knows where. I wasn't very sure why I was doing this, seeing as though there weren't many places to go to. Wolflink kept running but suddenly stopped after a few minutes. A blackish-looking cloud was suddenly engulfing everything. Wolflink ran away without my control very quickly. Text box then appeared with green font saying, "Don't worry, Midna, I'll protect you." Wolflink was desperately trying to get away from this void, but no avail as he was soon sucked inside, and his howl could be heard from a distance. Wait a minute. Did Link just talk to? I was brought to the Twilight Realm after a very long black screen break had happened. I was now as human Link with the hero tunic and the wanted a sword in hand. My shield was gone for some reason. I decided to check the items menu to see what I had, and all I already had was the slingshot, some water bombs, and the fishing rod. I also had a half bottle of milk. I went to the equipment menu next. Link's figure was not present in the little box where he normally should be, and my equipment from the file select before I started playing was all there. The only thing missing was my shield. I went back to the usual game and noticed that the option to speak with Midna was missing. Twilight Realm's theme was playing in reverse and it was a little unnerving. The Twilight Realm looked fine to me, nothing was out of the ordinary, and it still looked like the creepy, depressing MIDI temple it always was. I moved Link around and decided to check out some of the citizens that were left. I had the option of speaking to them, so I decided to talk to them. A text box appeared saying, "They are inside." I ran towards one of the entrances of the palace and was immediately brought to Sant's boss chamber. Midna was on the ground in the middle of the area, still in a weak state, and Zan and Ganondorf were near the throne. They both had smirks on their face, and Midna had a really panicked look as she was breathing heavily. A text box with blue font color appeared saying, "Help me, Link," and Midna reached out her hand. Link ran towards her without my control yet again, and the screen cut to black. A loud boom could be heard, and Midna and Link screamed. I was brought to the title screen again, and it looked the same as it was supposed to. I was shocked, too shocked at the point to even think clearly. Something told me to look just one last time. I clicked the start button and was brought to the file select. File music wasn't playing anymore though, it was Midna's lament. Choose my file and the text box appeared with blue font color saying, "You did this to us. We could have saved our worlds, but you could have just had some patience. Now, could you? You disgust me. Aren't you proud of what you've done?"